and unsurpassed, penetrating and perfect Dharma is rarely met with, even in 100,000 million kalpas. Having it to see and listen to remember and accept, I vow to taste the truth of the Tathagata's words. So this is the last time for this round that we'll be focusing on the Heart Sutra. One might ask the question, you probably noticed that if you're in California that we're in a heat wave, that there are little fires starting all over the place. The planet, no matter where we are, is manifesting climate change and the implications for people everywhere. And the pandemic and the news and the suffering of life. What's the Heart Sutra got to do with this? I mean, is this just like some strange Buddhist thing that you do because somebody told you should do it and maybe it's a good idea, but then we're just going to slog through our lives and maybe do what we can, but feel powerless and all those things. And I think the Heart Sutra is way more than that. So I'm going to start with today, just in case you think there's not magic afoot in the land. We're going to use beginner's mind, child mind, granddaughter mind. Love that Erica's granddaughter is here with us. And we're doing it for her and for all beings. And I think sometimes, especially for the young ones, is we need to find out where our agency is and what our job is as human beings. So I'm going to start with, because the one of the texts I've been using is from Lion's Roar and the commentaries on the Heart Sutra. And this one is partly, it's by Donald Lopez, who is a scholar. Excuse me, I don't know why my voice is doing this. He's the author of the Heart Sutra Explained and Elaborations on Emptiness. Uses of the Heart Sutra. Okay, so here we are. What's the use of the Heart Sutra? It's magic. So just for a minute, put aside your Western mind. Excuse me. There, maybe that's better. Maybe not. Maybe sometimes we are just way too logical. We need logic, we need analytical thinking, but I think sometimes we also need to maybe opening our imagination is to open to the magic of the world. As we were saying earlier, you pick up a pencil and you say it's just a pencil and you just skip the whole, it's like, good, the whole world brought us a pencil, for goodness sakes. This is amazing. And the magic that we put it in our hand and that you can write with it and something happens on the page. And I mean, it really is all just going beyond. But here are some stories from Eastern traditions about magic. He says, because he's a scholar and he's given us 2 pages of some of the things that we've been covering. In addition to its philosophical profundity, the Heart Sutra is also valued for its magical powers. Are you ready? Wow. In a famous Japanese ghost story immortalized in the film Kaidan, a blind flute player named Hochi learns that the audience he has been performing for each night are spirits of a slaughtered clan. Fearing that they will murder him at the end of his next performance, some monks bring him into their temple, strip off his clothes, and write the Heart Sutra all over his body, thus rendering him invisible to the ghosts. So here's the moral of this. You think you're in trouble and you're going to get slaughtered by an enemy clan? Just call on the Sangha and we'll strip off all your clothes and we'll write the Heart Sutra all over your body. Okay, that's the takeaway for today. No. The next morning, the monks find the lute player alive, but with blood pouring from where his ears used to be. The monks forgot to write the sutra on his ears, which were therefore not protected from the spirits. And from then on, he was known as Hochi the Earless. So remember, you have to write it everywhere. You have to, don't miss anything. Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, mind. It's all empty. It's just a reminder. Then you can know no ears, no eyes, no nose, no tongue, no body. In the Perfection of Wisdom of 8,000 stanzas, there is a passage in which the god Shakra, i.e. Indra, who's the highest of the gods, we're way too Western to believe in this, but Indra is all over the sutras actually, repels an army of demons that are about to attack the Buddha simply by calling the perfection of wisdom to mind. Maybe if you can't figure out what to do about climate change, is recite the Heart Sutra every day and see what happens. Maybe your mind and heart, something will be transformed that will enable, instead of worry and angst, which of course is part of this, maybe something different will arise. The perfection of wisdom is therefore said to have the power to defeat demons. This is why in Tibetan Buddhism, the Heart Sutra is recited before a Dharma teacher, a teaching is given. So we do the before lecture chant, they apparently chant the Heart Sutra, creating a force field to protect the teacher and all of us from demonic distraction. Maybe we could say we're creating a force field when we do a before lecture chant so that our eyes and ears can be freed from, we can taste the truth of delusion and be freed from the whatever demons we're bringing to the Dharma talk, our own confusion. We also find the Heart Sutra is used in Tibetan exorcism rituals. This talisman power of the sutra is one reason why, I'll bet you didn't know this, what's about to come. If you go to a gift shop in many Buddhist temples in Japan, you can find fans, coffee mugs, and neckties emblazoned with the Heart Sutra. People bring me gifts like this. They make me really happy. I'll bet you could maybe go online and get your Heart Sutra necktie for your father or for a father for Father's Day. And they'll wonder what in the world is wrong with you. But maybe it will also protect them and you, who knows? These days on YouTube, you can find the Heart Sutra set to music, including thrash metal, disco, and beatbox versions. You can Google this. I've seen it. People send it to me. It's actually kind of fun. Not to be outdone, a Tibetan Lama has produced a hip hop Heart Sutra. I have not found that one. If you find it, send it to me. Send it to us. In Bertolucci's 1993 film, The Little Buddha, the Heart Sutra is sung in Sanskrit as an aria while the closing credits roll. Haven't seen that one for a long time. When a famous pilgrim, Zhaizong, was a young monk living in Xichang, he helped an old man dressed in rags, taking him to his monastery and giving him money for new clothes. And in return, in gratitude, the man taught him the Heart Sutra, saying it would protect him in the future. Years later, when Zhaizong was crossing the Gobi Desert en route to India all alone, he was constantly being attacked by demons. Now, we could certainly in mythology and in, I mean, we can imagine demons as something more in the superstitious realm. But in the story of Buddha's enlightenment, Mara is considered a demon and a state of mind. That Mara knew exactly when Buddha said, I touch the earth, I vow to be here and to wake up with and for all beings. Mara appeared and knew exactly how the ways that the Buddha might be pushed off his seat in his vow. So these are mind states. So we all have our demons, our karmic inclinations. And the story is that because, well, it doesn't say Buddha recited the Heart Sutra, but because Buddha was so deeply rooted in the Heart Sutra and in emptiness, we might say, is that Mara would shoot arrows at all the vulnerable places in the Buddha's heart and mind. And instead of penetrating the way they would with us, and we'd get all, hurt or reactive or schmutzed or whatever it is that we do, they just bounced off the Buddha and became rose petals and fell to the ground. So the Heart Sutra is our protection against demons outer, the demons of greed, hate, and delusion, and all the suffering of the world, and our own inner demons. So he was constantly being attacked by demons. He found that calling on Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva of compassion, did not always help. But when he recited the Heart Sutra, the demons dispersed. Upon arriving in India, he acquired the Sanskrit text of the sutra, the short version, and later translated it into Chinese. And it is his translation that is read and recited in East Asia today. As his biography writes, it was by depending on this sutra that he was saved from many a peril. So it is by reciting this sutra that we are saved, you and me and the whole world. It's a magical mantra that just returns us to the magic and mystery of being alive. And because it can't be cognized, although it can be studied, it is in the chanting of it. It's an alive mantra passed through time that is just a song of the suchness of everything. It reminds us and brings us back to what's true. So I thought, use a little bit of Thich Nhat Hanh. And maybe if you haven't seen this, I put one of the pictures in the newsletter. This is such a beautiful book. The painting enlightenment, visions of the Heart Sutra. The whole world is the Heart Sutra. But here's Thich Nhat Hanh's commentary, and actually it fits, given that yesterday was Debbie's birthday, and it was somebody else's birthday yesterday or today. But every day, think how many people are being born today. How many people are dying today. But if we stay with Thich Nhat Hanh, he's saying, happy continuation day. That's what the Heart Sutra reminds us of. All dharmas are marked with emptiness. They are neither produced nor destroyed. This is very good news. We'll see what he has to say. Dharmas mean things. A human being is a dharma. A tree is a dharma. A cloud is a dharma. Sunshine is a dharma. Everything that can be conceived is a dharma. So when we say all dharmas are marked with emptiness, we say everything has emptiness as its own nature. And this is why everything can be. There is a lot of joy in this statement. It means nothing can be born and nothing can die. Now that's very good news, unless it scares you a little bit, because it does seem to run counter to reality. Avalokiteshvara has told us something in this sutra that's really important. Every day in our lives, we see birth and we see death. When a person is born, a birth certificate is printed for them, and after they die, in order to bury them, a death certificate is made. These certificates confirm the existence of birth and death. But then Avalokiteshvara says, wait a minute. Look deeper. Open your Dharma eyes, your eyes of magic and imagination, of seeing beyond things. There is no birth and death. We have to look more deeply in order to see if this is true. What is the date on which you were born? Let it come to mind. Before that date, did you already exist? Were you already there before you were born? Let me help you. To be born means from nothing you became something. My question is, before you were born, were you already there? Suppose a hen is about to lay an egg. Before she gives birth, do you think the egg is already there? Yes, of course. It is inside. And you also were inside before you were born. And that means before you were born, you already existed inside of your mother. I'd like to say, Thich Nhat Hanh doesn't say this. Do you ever think about how amazing that is, that we were all in a womb and eggs and sperms? And I just like want to pick up a pencil and be amazed. Just think about birth and death, for God's sakes. If you don't think the realm of magical mantras is just as amazing as the world of birth and death, we're not paying attention. Thich Nhat Hanh says, the fact is that if something is already there, it doesn't need to be born. To be born means from nothing you became something. If you are already something, what is the use of being born? And what in the world happens anyway? So before that date, did you exist or not? If you say yes, I think you are correct. Before your conception, you are there already, maybe half in your mother and half in your father. And because from nothing, we can never become something. Can you name one thing that was once a nothing? A cloud? Do you think that a cloud can be born out of nothing? Before becoming a cloud, it was water, maybe flowing as a river. It was not nothing. Do you agree? We cannot conceive the birth of anything. There is only continuation. I hope this doesn't wreck Debbie's birthday. Joni can still give you power tools and we'll act like you were born. Because we're really glad that it looks like you were born, and we'll be really sad when it looks like you died, but we're not going to bring that part of it up right now. There is only continuation. Please look back even further and you will see that you not only exist in your father and mother, but you also exist in your grandparents and in your great-grandparents. And as you look more deeply, I can see that in a former life, I was a cloud. It is not poetry, it is science. Why do I say that in a former life I was a cloud? Because I am still a cloud. Without the cloud, I cannot be here. I am the cloud, the river, and the air at this very moment. So I know that in the past, I have been a cloud, a river, and the air. And I was a rock. I was the minerals in the water. This is not a question of belief in reincarnation or in magic. This is the history of life on Earth. This is the magic and the wonder. We have been gas, sunshine, water, fungi, and plants. We have been single-celled beings. The Buddha said that in one of his former lives, he was a tree. He was a fish. He was a deer. These are not superstitious things. Get over your Western mind. Please use it, but let's let it get bigger. I think maybe we as Westerners sit on top of a pyramid of primordial knowing and awareness that we've brought amazing analytical cognition to the world, but we need to reconnect with this primordial knowing. Every one of us has been a cloud, a deer, a bird, a fish, and we continue to be these things, not just in former lives. This is not just the case in birth. Nothing can be born, and also nothing can die. That is what Avalokiteshvara said. Do you think that a cloud can die? To die means that from something you become nothing. A Zen master might give a student this question. Maybe you've heard this question. It's a fun question to carry around, and the Heart Sutra helps a lot. What was your face before your parents were born? What was your face before your parents were born? This is an invitation to go on a journey in order to recognize yourself. If you do well, you can see your former lives as well as your future lives. You know, sometimes part of the story of the Buddha's enlightenment is that part of his enlightenment experiences is that he could see all of his past lives. Then you think, are we talking about reincarnation? There are arguments still going on. I heard about one recently. Two scholars who I think in the end ended up not talking to each other because they couldn't agree about how seriously to take reincarnation. They were just in different schools, you know. But Thich Nhat Hanh, I don't think this is a problem for Thich Nhat Hanh. Go on a journey in order to recognize yourself. If you do well, you can see your former lives as well as your future lives. Please remember that you are not talking about philosophy. We are talking about reality. Look at your hand and ask yourself, look at your hand. Since when has my hand been around? Look at your hand. Since when has it been around? Look at I think often, you know, babies, when they begin to cognize, come more into the realm of form I mean, I don't know, but it seems to me that babies, when they're born, are coursing in emptiness. It's all just, who knows what it is, but I think it's probably all flowing and moving, and then it begins to congeal and gel, and there's no sense of self and other. But then you can see they start looking at their hands, or they pull up their little feet, and it's like, what is this? And then it begins to be, oh, it's my hand and it's my foot, and then then the whole thing. But that's just becoming a human being. Since when has my hand been around? If I look deeply into my hand, I can see that it has been around for a long time. More than 300,000 years. I see many generations of ancestors in there, not just in the past, but in the present moment, still alive. I am only the continuation. I have never died once. If I had died even once, how could my hand still be here? I was brought up with my grandparents, my father's side, divorced early on, which I think was probably unusual back then. And we were really cut off from my genetic grandfather, and was raised with my grandmother remarried and was raised with a wonderful person that I knew as grandfather. But when I was in my 30s, I went in search of my biological grandfather. And I remember I found him, and I remember walking in the room, and I was so blown away by the power of continuation and genetics that his hand was my father's hand. It's just, he wasn't my heart grandfather. I had another grandfather, but the continuation of something that's past. And then I look at my hand, and whose hand is this? And where does it begin and end? Usually we say humans come from dust and we are going back to dust. And this does not sound very joyful. We don't want to return to dust. There is a discrimination here that humans are very valuable and that dust has no value at all. Actually, have you ever looked at, have you ever had the gift of being able to, after someone's been cremated, and to look at the little, it's beautiful, the dust that the human body reveals itself to be. And sometimes it feels to me like little shells. It seems like maybe it's the heat of the cremation furnace that it burns bodies in different ways. But some of them that I've heard, and when you pour it in the ground, is it makes a little tinkling like wind chimes. They rub up again. They make a song together. So who are we, and where do we begin and where do we end? Scientists do not even know what a speck of dust is. It is still a mystery. Imagine one atom of that speck of dust with electrons traveling around its nucleus at 180,000 miles per second. It is very exciting. To return to a speck of dust can be quite an exciting adventure. Being alive is quite an exciting adventure, including the demons. If you didn't think there were demons, you wouldn't have to know the Heart Sutra, and there wouldn't be this whole dance of what was my face before my parents were born. I don't think you can see this swirling emptiness. It's completely dark page, but there's something swirling right in the center of it. What is in the sutra of my life? The purest emptiness has no image, but is the source of all images. Emptiness is just a word to indicate that which enables change and connection, birth and death, growth and decay, suffering and bliss. Emptiness is the activity of leaves growing, changing color, falling and growing again. Emptiness is that which enables us to feel hot in the summer and cold in the winter. It is that which enables us to hear the morning song of birds, enjoy the smell of flowers, and feel the silkiness of a puppy's fur. It is that which powers us to take action in the face of abuse and violence and work with justice to diminish suffering. It is that which enables us to be aware of what causes suffering and what generates love, and what gives us the wisdom to know the difference. Emptiness is a perspective that includes all without discrimination and judgment. Emptiness is what we can see through microscopes and telescopes, in caves, from mountaintops, and online via Google Earth. When we look from the perspective of emptiness, it is clear that we are all in this together. Therefore, it is important to begin and end with emptiness when making decisions and choosing a course of action, just as we will miss our mark if we don't take into account the force of gravity when calculating the trajectory of a rocket sent to the moon. We will miss our mark and generate suffering if we don't take into account the dynamics of emptiness when we try to love. To experience emptiness is to experience no separation of subject and object, no winning or losing, no us and them. In emptiness, there is no place to stand alone or to stand your ground. In emptiness, there is no place to stand alone or to stand your ground. When our point of reference is emptiness, no suffering ensues. When we experience emptiness, our actions manifest wisdom and radiate compassion. Whether or not we are aware of emptiness, daily life is a streaming sutra. Daily life is a streaming sutra expounding the liberating power of emptiness. Gate, gate. How about if I put us in groups of, I think we'll just do a quick talk and then we'll come back and we'll just talk together. You can talk about any of this, what arises. What is groundless ground? What is it to stand on solid ground that is groundless ground? Or anything else that feels important to you?